Brian McFadden, Pete Prisco, ran Carthon. NFC South champions, head coach, Carolina Panthers, Dave Canales joining us here. Dave, man, first and foremost, thank you for joining us. But in terms of the vibes, man, seeing the success that you guys had a year ago, what's the mindset coming out here in Indy as you guys get ready to improve your team for 2026?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with our roster, right? Knowing our guys and how to get them to take the next steps. Let's get our injured players healthy. What do we have? Dan and I putting our heads together. All right, this is what we got. Now how do we challenge that roster? And that's been our heart, is like in free agency or in the draft, who can we add to each position group to challenge that room? It's got to be that way. It creates competition. It keeps everybody hungry, coaches included. You know, we're always looking for ways to improve and evaluating those things. So we come in here with open eyes to see let's just add great players with high character and see where they fit into Panthers football.
Talk to us about Bryce Young. Right, you got a quarterback. When you took over, you know he's trying to figure things out, and we talked to Dan earlier, but if you go back and you look across Bryce's career, and you go from his first year with you to this year, this most recent year, he's improved in just about every category. Just talk about the work that has gone into Bryce and the work that he's put in to get you guys to this point.
His goal has been consistency. That's what he's after, and he's finding that. What I'm most excited about with Bryce is just his command of our systems, taking advantage of different things at the line of scrimmage, which we saw more and more in different games all the way through the playoff game. A beautiful, explosive pass where he saw something in a formation that we had. He had a green light to check it. He did. He hit Jalen Coker down the field, and it was stuff that he can do like that. I want him to continue to grow in those processes. But at the same time, he's a leader, you know, and one of the things that Dan Morgan and I talk about a lot is we need to build a team to put Bryce Young into high-stakes situations. He'll come through for us, and that's the belief that we have in our quarterback. And as he continues to master things, I'm excited for the steps that we're going to take.
And as a guy you're an offensive guy, and you've been in places where you've developed quarterbacks, but just for those out there, talk about how important that is to have a young developing quarterback to stay in the same system, and how important that is that to have that, and for how much that helps his maturation.
It goes both ways, right? So it's Bryce in our system for 2 years, but it's also myself and our offensive coordinator, Brad Idzik, in this system with Bryce at quarterback. Because as you know, our book's huge, but as we learn each other, as we learn what he does well, the things he doesn't like, that book starts to shrink. That's when you get really good. And that's where we're headed, is just being able to identify those things he does well. And as our young pieces, T-Mac, Jalen Coker, Xavier Leggett, begin to emerge in the system, it's a group that's growing. I mean, imagine Bryce is the KG vet in the room, right? These are rookies and second-year players that really look up to him, and they work well together.
You mentioned T-Mac. He was great as a rookie. What does he have to do to take even the next step in his second year?
Be physically dominant. He's special. He's gifted at the top of route. He's got unbelievable body control and hands for a 6'4" guy. He can drop his weight, get in and out of cuts. Speed breaks are sick. He's got to take that next step to be the bully, to bring that physical nature to the game, and then he's going to really take his game to another level. And he knows that. Coach Rob Moore, our receivers coach, they've been working tirelessly on hand usage, hand combat, and all those types of things. And so, but as far as knowing the concepts and all that, he does an amazing job of being in the playbook and really has a natural way that he understands the game.
Now, you stated your role would kind of change this season. You know, of course, you're the head coach, but you've been calling plays. You're stepping back and calling plays. So how will you embrace this new potential role and not being the play caller? And will there be moments in the flow of a game where you might say, you know what, let's do X, Y, and Z? Or are you just totally stepping back?
No, I'm going to step back. I've hired Darryl Bevel to come in also as my associate head coach, and a coach that I've worked with for a really long time, and I want him to be the primary voice for Brad, staying on track with what we're doing, making sure that all the D&D tendencies are in order, all those things. I'll be involved with the game plan part of it to ensure that the vision of what I have for our offense continues to get put in place. But this is going to allow me to be me, to be connected to my whole group. And the stoic play caller seriously staring at the card, I really enjoyed that part. It's a thrill, and it's exhilarating. The gratification of seeing a plan come together and watching our players grow and execute that is really gratifying. But I know I have more to give to this organization offense, defense, special teams, all across the building to be able to continue to create the play style and the culture that we're after.
What's next for the Carolina Panthers? Coming into this past season, I don't think anybody would have had Carolina winning the division. But now you guys have arrived. So what's next for Carolina Panthers?
Consistency. We know who we are. Can we bring that to the field? Can we bring that to game day every single Sunday? And we saw success, a 3-game win streak. That felt good. We won one, we lost one.
Yeah.
We won one, we lost one. We have to grow up, all of us together. We have to take the next step to find consistency of play style, consistency of technique, and let that show up for us. And you know what? It all starts with practice. You know that. And we have to continue to grow in that and make sure we feel the urgency. I get to go into this offseason with the sting of that loss to the Rams at home. And a game that we took the lead in late. We got to be able to finish those. We got to have leads earlier in games, and then we got to close it out. Which I know we're capable of, but that's the next step for us.
We talked a lot about your offense. We talked a lot about the quarterback, your play call, and everything else. What about the other side of the ball? What do you need to get better on that side of the ball?
We got to get pass rush, however we can get it. Edge blitzers, it could be a nickel, another safety who can affect the game, an inside linebacker you can move around, can be an interior pass rusher, an edge rusher. We don't care. Coach Ajero and I, we're on the same page with that. We have to find a way to continue to affect the passer, affect the quarterback, so that in those games where they have that 2-minute drive. Now, Matt Stafford's pretty good, but let's get after him. Let's get after him in different ways, and there are certain ways to do that, and we can address that in free agency or the draft. So that's a priority for us.
Last question for me. You talked about, all the offensive success. It starts and it ends with Bryce Young. 2-part question for you, Coach. Has Bryce Young done enough within the organization to be your franchise quarterback of the future? And how soon will you guys present the extension talk to his representation?
Those are all great questions for Dan Morgan and Brent Tillis. I have the joy of just being able to coach Bryce. I love doing this with him. We're growing together. His input in what we're doing, more and more, the more he has command of what we're doing, our conversations throughout the week. Do we have enough? What are we missing? And then at the end of the week, what do you love? If I call a play, it's 3rd and 7 for the game. What do you want?
Yeah.
And those kind of conversations, the growth, the maturity, and where we're headed is what I just get to enjoy right now. And but at the same time, I know that Bryce has a bright future, and I know that I'm excited and privileged to be a part of what we're doing right now and where we're headed this season.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, there you have it. Head coach, Carolina Panthers, Dave Canales, joining us. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me.